Okay, and then let me present my tab here. All right. Can you guys see that on there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. All right, so here's the deal. All right, so this chapter, this is real short. I'm just going to do 2 days on this chapter. All right, so we'll do today and tomorrow. And so what I've decided what I'm going to do here is Thursday and Friday, we're not going to have a Google Meet. All right, we're just going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out the Constitution test. All right, so I'll send out on Thursday or the end of Wednesday. I'll send you guys out the Kahoot review game. I have actually 2 if you want to play over that. And then I'm going to send out the Constitution test. You will have until Sunday night to turn that in. All right. So you should have 4 good days on the Constitution test. It's open notes, obviously. And also, if you need to look up other stuff via the internet or whatever, you got time. All right. So you don't have to rush with it. But I'll need it in by Sunday, right before midnight. And then next Monday, I'm just going to send out a worksheet on Illinois history. All right. Which will cover our Illinois Constitution requirement. And then we'll meet on that Tuesday for a Google Meet. So we'll do today and tomorrow Google Meet, and then Thursday, Friday you will have time to do your Constitution test. Sound fair? I take your silence as yes. Okay. All right. So let's move on here with Chapter 7. So Chapter 7 here is the third and final branch of government, which is the judicial branch. Section 1 mainly talks about the Supreme Court here. So there you guys have for your guided notes, and make sure you guys can pull up your guided notes here. The judicial branch. Remember, we were talking about laws when it pertains to laws. The legislative branch makes laws. The executive branch enforces the laws, and then the judicial branch interprets the laws. All right. This is listed in Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution. So Article 1 is legislative branch, Article 2 deals with executive, and Article 3 deals specifically with judicial branch. If you look at the Constitution, this is the shortest article in the Constitution. All right. And within the judicial branch, we have different court systems. The highest court there in the land, as you guys know, is the Supreme Court. So I'm pretty sure it's a question on the test. What's the highest court in the U.S. judicial system? And that would be the Supreme Court. All right. You guys got this? Okay. I'm going to keep it moving. All right. And so on the Supreme Court, you have 9 justices. There are 9. 9, obviously being an odd number, allows for the Supreme Court to come up with decisions, right? So what you have is a Chief Justice, it's the head justice of the Supreme Court, and then associate justices, the other 8. And so, and we'll talk about as far as we talk about kind of requirements and stuff like that for justices, there are no requirements for Supreme Court justice listed in the Constitution. So there's no age requirement. You don't necessarily even have to be a lawyer. All right. However, it helps. All right. And we'll talk about the kind of confirmation process and such. All right. So I'm going to keep moving here. Sure, you guys know that. And there's the current, this is the most current image picture that we have of the Supreme Court justices. All right. Right there in the middle is John Roberts, who's the current Supreme Court justice. So a lot of times they'll refer to these courts as, this is often referred to as Roberts court because Supreme Court justice. They usually, like, famous one being Earl Warren. There was a number of cases that were decided during Earl Warren, so they call it the Warren's Court, like Brown versus Board of Education and that. All right, so one individual you see kind of right here, that's Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who just passed away recently, and this woman, Amy Coney Barrett, has replaced her on the Supreme Court. All right, so they haven't had the new picture yet. All right, so Supreme Court justices are appointed by the president. This is why presidential elections matter, and must be approved by the Senate by a simple majority. So the same way as like cabinet officials. And this last one was a little contentious, not as much as like on President Obama's last year in office. There was a guy named Merrick Garland, who he nominated after Antonin Scalia passed away. However, the Senate, which was led by Mitch McConnell, refused to seat him or even have a hearing until the election. And then this is recent one, obviously. Ruth Bader Ginsburg just passed away a couple months ago. That was the same issue. They were thinking maybe they're going to wait till after the election, but that wasn't the case. All right. Supreme Court justices are appointed for life. All right. So many of them either pass away, obviously, or retire. You can only be removed, other than death, obviously, by impeachment. All right. And I'm not quite sure how many. There have been a few justices. I think it may have been impeached. I don't know if they have been removed. I have to look that up. All right. So, again, these are just some. And again, there's no like age requirement. No stipulates that you have to be a judge in a previous. But it helps. All right. So I'm gonna keep it moving. You guys got this. Let's see. All right. Some of the first, when it comes to Supreme Court justices, the first Supreme Court justice was John Jay in the 1780s, 1790s. The first African-American justice was appointed in the 60s. That's Thurgood Marshall. He was actually a lawyer that actually brought the Brown versus Board of Education case that desegregated the American school systems in the 1950s, 1954. First female justice, Sandra Day O'Connor, appointed by Ronald Reagan in the early 80s. The first Hispanic justice is Sonia Sotomayor. Again, on the test, I would have had these. These are no, you won't see these questions on the Constitution. All right. But these are just some of the first. All right. There's John Jay. There's Thurgood Marshall. Sandra Day O'Connor. Sonia Sotomayor. A big part of the Supreme Court, and we kind of talked about this. We talked about a little bit about this when we were talking about certain court cases and that, and earlier, the concept of judicial review, which is Supreme Court's power to decide whether a law or presidential action is in agreement with the Constitution. If it is not, then the law is considered unconstitutional. So I think just recently there's a court case brought from the Supreme Court about limiting people's ability to go to church functions with the current COVID situation going on. They determined some of those laws were unconstitutional, opening the door for churches to have meetings or mass and stuff like that. Okay. I'm gonna skip over this whole thing because I don't think it'll be able to play. The first case really that kind of like established this concept of judicial review is Marbury versus Madison, which was in 1803. The Chief Justice at this time was John Marshall. This was a case that, and we believe we talked about this earlier when we were talking about the Chapter 3 pertaining to the Marbury receiving a job from the previous administration. This allows, the case itself was somewhat convoluted to a certain extent, but this gives essentially the first real court case that gives the Supreme Court the right to determine whether laws passed by the legislative branch or carried out by the executive branch whether are constitutional or unconstitutional. While this is part of kind of what the Supreme Court does, it was not officially established really inside the Constitution. So this really was the first case that really kind of the Supreme Court was able to kind of flex its muscle a little bit. All right. I don't know if this is working or not. I have a feeling this is not. I may have to go back tomorrow to teaching in front of the room there. There's Justice Marshall. All right, let's see if this will play. I don't know if this will play, but this kind of talks about how cases get to the Supreme Court.
Old TV shows made it seem really easy to appeal to the Supreme Court.
Hold on,
like this lady wanted to fight her speeding ticket.
I am going to win this case.
I apologize, guys. I don't know if this is working or not. I have to mute my mic here for a second.
Old TV shows made it seem really easy to appeal.
All right, hold up. I gotta mute my mic.
Old TV shows made it seem really easy to appeal to the Supreme Court, like when this lady wanted to fight her speeding ticket.
I am going to win this case. If not here, I'll appeal to a higher court. If necessary, I'll take it to the Supreme Court.
Or on Gilligan's Island, when Thurston Howell is locked in a bamboo jail and he says,
I'll take it to the Supreme Court.
but even though they make it sound like a right, nobody is entitled to an appearance at the Supreme Court. That's entirely at the discretion of the justices. And they choose very carefully. Only a small number of cases get to the Supreme Court, and it's getting smaller. Roughly 8,000 cases are submitted each year, but only 80 cases are accepted. That's a 1% acceptance rate. And to get to that 1%, most cases start at the bottom. The federal court system consists of 3 layers, and the lowest is the district level. If you lose in a district court, you can appeal to the circuit level. Most of the United States is divided into 11 circuits, but there's a 12th for D.C. and a federal circuit that mostly hears patent and military cases. Above the circuit level is the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, as long as you don't count the basketball court that's above the Supreme Court. And to get to the Supreme Court, nearly all cases require submitting something called a petition for a writ of certiorari,
the writ of certiorari, which is shortened usually to writ of cert.
A petition for the writ of cert is a written request asking the Supreme Court to hear a case, instead of asking the court to resolve the facts of a case, which are nearly always settled in lower courts. The reasons for granting the petition concern important questions about federal law.
The overarching goal of the court is to make sure that federal law is the same across the country. And so by federal law, I mean the U.S. Constitution and laws passed by Congress.
Professor Green clerked for Justice John Paul Stevens, where he became very familiar with cert petitions. That's because the clerks review cert petitions for their justices, who then choose to grant a petition if it passes the rule of 4, meaning that 4 justices want to hear the case. When the court does not grant cert, it does not imply a decision.
It doesn't mean that it agrees with the lower court. It doesn't mean that the individual justices agree with the lower court decision. It just means that the court has decided that this particular case is not a case where the court is going to choose to set law for the whole country.
If cert is granted, a case probably falls into one of three categories describing most Supreme Court cases. The first is a case of national importance, such as when the court decided Bush v. Gore in order to help determine who had won the 2000 presidential election.
Drawing on very rarely used legal powers the Supreme Court has, for the first time in American history, decided to step into a legal dispute in the midst of a presidential election.
A second type of case is when a lower court issues a ruling that invalidates federal law. An example is Gonzalez v. Raich, in which Angel Raich, a California woman, challenged federal drug laws after agents destroyed marijuana plants she had been consuming for medical use. On her appeal in the Ninth Circuit, judges ruled in favor of Raich, deciding that she was compliant with the state law authorizing her use of medical pot. But that ruling conflicted with federal law prohibiting marijuana use.
So when the Ninth Circuit said it doesn't apply, that means if you're a medical marijuana user in California, then you can use it without fear of federal prosecution. But if you are a medical marijuana user in Florida or in New York, then it's still banned under federal law.
By ruling on the case, justices were able to establish the authority of federal law prohibiting the use of medical marijuana.
In the Rice case, the Supreme Court overruled the Ninth Circuit and said that the federal drug laws can apply to local marijuana use, which means that someone like Angel Raich can still be prosecuted under federal law, even though she can't be prosecuted under state law.
Third, the court accepts cases in order to resolve a split decision in the lower courts. This happened in the case of Bergefell v. Hodges, where a Sixth Circuit ruling that banned same-sex marriage conflicted with rulings in other circuits that had upheld the right to same-sex marriage.
Bergefell was someone living in Ohio who wanted to marry his same-sex partner and was not permitted to do so under Ohio law. It made its way to the Sixth Circuit. The Sixth Circuit said you have no right to be married because you're a same-sex couple, and that created a split, a division of authority between the Sixth Circuit, which governs Ohio, and a number of other circuit courts. And so once that happened, it was fairly clear to, I think, most legal observers that the Supreme Court was likely to hear the case because it meant that the federal law, the federal constitution in this case, applied differently in Ohio than it would in Pennsylvania, for example.
By ruling in favor of Bergefell, the court resolved the circuit split and made same-sex marriage a right nationwide. But these three categories are just a framework for understanding why the court might select a case. They are not rules. Ultimately, which cases get to the court depends on the decisions of individuals, the sitting justices of the U.S. Supreme Court.
All right. So, like the video I talked about, how a case gets heard, something called a writ of cert or writ of certiorari. Is basically a written request to hear a case. Before a case can be kind of brought in front of the Supreme Court, you have to what they call the rule of four. At least 4 of the 9 justices must vote to hear a case. In these cases, which I'll talk about tomorrow, these cases are usually brought in front of other federal courts, lower federal courts, and appellate courts and stuff like that, which we'll talk about tomorrow. And so in certain cases, if we don't have the rule of 4, then it gets remanded, return a case to a lower court for that to either kind of be redecided or it stands, all right, as the case goes. So there's a limited amount of cases that are brought in front of the Supreme Court on the docket, if you will. Hold on, let me move that to give you guys a little bit of time to type that out. Again, this would be on a test here. I'm not totally sure if this is at last looking on the Constitution test. I don't believe I have this on the Constitution test. So let me keep it moving here. This is a cert, a writ of cert here, just an example of the kind of a cover page of that. And so, and again, it has to be written in a specific kind of format. A lot of legalese and legal interpretation. Supreme Court cases are about what we call oral arguments. Basically, the idea you have somebody brings it in front of there, and they have a 30 minutes to basically present their case in front of the Supreme Court. And so each justice, and then in many cases, the Supreme Court justices will ask questions to the lawyers for each parties. Usually these questions usually pertain to how these laws either jive or maybe not necessarily kind of how they may not kind of match up with the Constitution. Each justice has one vote, and a decision agrees by a simple majority. So a lot of times the votes, like, obviously kind of like a 5-4 case is a very kind of closely contested case there. And this is where a lot of times, like, kind of like when presidents appoint certain justices, while they're not elected, these guys, men and women here, they are not supposed to bring kind of their political kind of ideologies to the court, but in many cases that happens. I mean, people are going to have certain ideas, and the Constitution is a document that can be interpreted in certain ways, all right, differently from one person to the other, obviously. All right. And then when a decision is made, then the justices write an opinion. So that's an explanation of the kind of the kind of decision. And so you have like the concurring opinion, who these are the people that kind of agree with this, the majority, basically the majority opinion. But for different reasons in many cases. Right? A lot of times you'll have justices that will write kind of opinions that basically they voted yes on a case or no on a case, they had the same decision, but they'll come to different conclusions on why they came to that decision. This is a big deal. This is a big part of kind of being a Supreme Court justice. This is why a lot of these guys these men and women have people that clerk for them. And some of these people who've clerked have gone on and have become Supreme Court justices. Like Amy Coney Barrett actually clerked for Antonin Scalia. So a lot of these people who, while you're not supposed to have certain kind of like, there's no requirements per se, your kind of work history does kind of play a role in probably your confirmation. And then the dissenting opinion is basically those who disagree with the majority. They're in the ones, let's say it was 5-4, somebody within the kind of the 4 there would write a dissenting opinion, explain their reasoning and why they disagree with the decision here. I think is that the last slide? I believe that is the last slide. Yeah, that is. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Let's see. Stop there. Could you guys see that? Was that fine? You guys can answer me.
That was all right, except for the video. There was double voices.
Was there? Okay, I was trying to figure out Grandpa was trying to figure out how to mute his mic here. And I wasn't having any luck there. So probably tomorrow I'll just do it like in front of if we have any videos there, I'll just do it in the front. I don't think I have any videos in the one tomorrow. So we'll just keep it like this. Like I said, we'll meet back up here tomorrow. That'll be the last time I'll give you guys any, like you'll have to sit through any lectures of mine unless you take world history in the future. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, we're not going to meet. I'm gonna send out reviews and the Constitution test on a Google form. All right, you guys will have all through the weekend to do that. Sound good? Okay, guys. Have a good day. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning again.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.